What if the Sarkas became Sanctas? What if Castel became a holy city like that of Laterano in reality? This is the story where Sanctas are not different from Sarkas. Now they are known as Tikas and gain the ability of empathy granted by the law. Hello, the people of Terra. Today we will be summarizing and drawing the story of IS-5 What If Story, the City of Angels. Without further ado, let's go to the Pilgrim Gate, the gate that opens to all, an entrance to the Holy City. The Legati travels all around Terra to inform everyone of the gate. The gate connects to the untarnished corridor where no darkness shall ever take place. There, an elevator lies. In place, only visitors that have been granted permission shall take it to the city plates. The pilgrim gate through the ages has been in the same place and has not closed its gates once, for it is the Holy Gun Knight's duty to prevent it, whether it is from rascals to catastrophe. In ancient times, the Holy Gun Knights would patrol around the area for a limited time and report back to His Holiness before the noon sun. Though, in the modern era, everything has been automated with the automatons. The only one left of the Holy Gun Knights is Putrokasti, for only he is enough. Approximately 20 kilometers across the Pilgrim Gate, giant Originum cluster can be seen. Some are as tall as buildings, while some have started to poke the whole city. Now, the Knights doesn't patrol as far and decided to ignore the cluster, as the Pilgrim Gate cannot be moved. In a certain time at the untarnished corridor, Buldrokasti talked with his daughter Yelena about a sect, the Estray, a group of people that has different circumstances, ranging from when they were the night entry to that the law grace soon be for the Tikas alone. Even though they deviate from the church teachings, they are still considered kindred, and among them, Grovazil, Buldrokasti's biological son, joined them some time ago. After a few minutes of silence, Yelena couldn't take it anymore. Father, you think Grovazil is right, don't you? He was taken aback by her directness, but understood her intent, even if they didn't have empathy, for she is a countess, and he is a Tikas. But he's left Castel. Yes. You don't want to tell me what your empathy share between you two? No, I already told you. Your brother is also worried you will act rashly. I'm not leaving Castel. She wants to join the Holy Gun Knight, even if she doesn't have empathy. She lists reasons upon reasons why she can become a Holy Gun Knight. He listens carefully to her daughter, wanting to be persuaded. He then made a promise to her. I know. When the time is right, I will ask His Holiness what he thinks. Can you wait until then, Yelena? You see him every day, but as I have said, I don't have the chance to ask his opinion every day. I will forget. You're meeting with him today, right? I am. I'll do my best to find an opportunity. I promise. He then prepares himself to meet His Holiness, and even though he said that to Yelena, he himself doesn't believe that she can become a Holy Gun Knight. A skirmish has taken place between a guerrilla group of the Astray consisting of elders, ancients, and fallen angels, led by Team Kalshit against the Holy Gun Knight and his Apostolic Knights. In the middle was a Jarl and her friends, untarnished by the law. Buldrokasti approached the Jarl and her friends, inviting her to become a Tikas. Welcome, my yet blessed king. I am Buldrokasti, guardians of the holy city. Follow me. I will bring you back to Castel, where enlightenment is at hand, and you will no longer suffer in the dark. Suddenly, monster appeared, separating the Dajjal from him. Kalshit took the opportunity to get them to her guerrilla camp. In the distance, the Dajjal saw Castel Holy Knight waiting to bring enlightenment to the yet blessed king, while she was running to a guerrilla camp to protect her from the law. Due to the judge's unique circumstance, they took her hostage for a few days in their base camp inside a car in a valley between hills near the originating cluster. Lemon and Professor have been protesting my treatment of the storm. I admit, I was too cautious. Calci then releases the girl and give her freedom as long as it's not outside the walls. They then answer each other's question. Can I ask what happened to my friends who were with me? Calci answers that they just vanished out of thin air. They continue until a sentinel shouted, "Automatons!" Lemon and Calci attack the Omnican Knight and his automatons, but he deflected all their attacks easily. I am unarmed. I came here to talk, not to battle. Lemon confirmed what he said using their empathy. The pink-haired angel waves her hand, indicating to the army to scatter and settle down. Would you like some tea, Reverend? Maybe some cookies? Not that we have any though. Yes? His Holiness would like to meet that comrade of yours. Any friend of yours? He said, prolonging the matter to harm both sides. You should notice. His Holiness guaranteed this meeting goal is not to grant a revelation. I will also guarantee her safety. Nim told her stories to the Pope, during which he gained an enlightenment. To him, her words became a will of the law. He starts taking Kratli Cat Originum into the Holy City, causing chaos all throughout Casdale. Seeing the Pope madness, Pultrocasti gave him the permission to live with Yelena and the Astray, while he confronts the Pope alone. Pultrocasti enters the cathedral, halberd in hand. Even if, knowing the consequences of harming one's own skin, he marched forward. Pultrocasti, yes? Do you know the term Sarkas? Those who deny their king. Or perhaps those without a... No, I do not know this word. What is Castel calling? Conversion, acceptance, accommodation. What elevates the Tikas above all other peoples of this land? There is nothing special about the Tikas, which is why we accept and accommodate. Then why do you stand against me? The law has told me of our kin's suffering within arm's reach. You would have cast them stand by and do nothing? Your words are the ramblings of a madman. I do not know of this place within arm's reach, but your decision has brought harm upon the people outside. The Pope then keeps around rambling as he believes that Originum will save the Sarkas, since the Holy City is meant to accommodate everyone. As he keeps speaking, his face starts smiling. Eventually, ecstasy fills his face, turning him into a maniac. Trocasti stops listening to the madman and points his halberd to the enemy. Nim, Yelena, and Lemuel traverse the Holy City day and night through underground and rooftops, led by Team Calci while being pursued by automatons. They finally reach the deepest parts of the city. We are soon to arrive at the most important point in the entirety of this land. Part of the reason I have been trying to enter Castel all this time is this place. I do not wish to act rashly, not in the slightest, but the results of the meeting between Nymph and Pontiff of Castel went far beyond my expectations. The moment he started bringing large quantities of those broadly cut clusters into the city, I was out of time. What are we looking for? Someone I wish to place all my trust in, but also someone I do not wish to disturb. The group dives deeper underground. The place is filled with ancient, unknown technology. At the end of the tunnel was a black gate embedded in the rocks. It's called the Gate of Salvation, a tombstone where no sun shines. He feels around the gate, eventually touching a mechanism, parting the gate, revealing a dark red light, and readies him to tell the sleeper that the whole truth when he awakes. Once the gate is fully open, Calci gestures to the other to follow her. Inside was a lone sarcophagus. When Calcit opened it, there was nothing except broken pieces of black eggshells. Oh, what was supposed to be in there? I see. Calcit sighed. You're coming, Nymph. The meeting between us, between you and the Castilian Pope and Pultrocasti, are all signs that the directive has long since been changed. Their ruling for the directive have changed outside their control. In the cathedral, Pultrocasti roars and lunges at the Pope, piercing His Holiness, only for it to stop midway and making a deafening sound. The Pope revealed that he has mutated and Original has changed his body. Original has granted me immortality in order to perform my duty. Your immobility is proof of my enlightenment. You have witnessed a miracle. Now repent, Bultrocasti, before you make an irreparable mistake, before you fall beyond the reach of salvation. If this is a mistake, then let me err. If I am to fall, then let me fall. If this is the price for stopping your madness, then so be it. He raised his halberd once more, now striking through to the Pope. Now he has become a fallen. Yet, after all of that, tiny crystal gushes out of His Holiness' body. Ultracasti, the last holy. A voice speaks from the origin. I have heard your words across of millions of directives. As he looks around for the source of the sound, a warm hand gently pressed against his forehead. He looks up to see an unfamiliar figure wearing a black, evil, and crown floating. He then hears his own voice echoing through the hall. I see cities devastated. I see Originium blanketing the land. I see you, black crown on your head, melting millions of life into nothing but memories. I see the king of Sarkas enslaving all people everywhere. He then desperately roars and reaches his claw to the floating figure, but all is frozen, for everything has been sealed. Nothing shall move, nothing shall speak, nothing. Amia once more seals the story, bringing salvation to all. Alright, that's the end for the what if story of the City of Angels, where the the Sarkas and the Sancta became one. Sadly, I was unable to gather much information on before Nymph arrival, but that's that, I suppose. Well, that's all for me. I just want to say thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and good night to the people of Terra.